As the fighting ramps up, President Trump has told Axios he is considering a massive attack on Iran. For more on this, we're joined by CBS News senior national security correspondent Charlie D'Agata. So, Charlie, does this threat match up with the buildup in military posturing that we talked about yesterday?
Yeah, Kelly, that's a very good point. So when the president makes the comments that he makes, he is the commander-in-chief. It is the responsibility of the U.S. military, in this case, Central Command, to put those assets in place. Talk about assets, sounds like a military term, but they're very, very specific. If you have what they would call a strike package, they're going to hit this. They might hit Pickaxe Mountain. They're going to hit targets along the Strait of Hormuz. What does it take to hit those targets? And we know that B-1 bombers are now part of this strike package, what's happening here, and they are the heavy lift bombers. They can carry 70,000 pounds worth of explosives and bombs. Most importantly, they can carry 5,000-pound bunker busters, deep penetrating bombs. So if you are to make a sort of statement attack, if you're going to deliver, as President Trump has said, he's going to go after Pickaxe Mountain, or he's going to do something bigger than has ever been seen, you want to have those military assets in place. Now, when we talk about Operation Midnight Hammer, those took B-2 bombers. Those leave from the United States. The B-1s that we're talking about have left from the UK, and we have air traffic that have been following those B-1 bombers, so we know that to be a fact. A lot of refuelers are here. We know that. We can confirm that. And that would be for those fighter jets that are taking off from aircraft carriers and air bases around here, including here in Jordan. They don't like to talk about it that much, but there are U.S. fighter jets based here as well. So the U.S. military is responsible for putting all of those assets in place, whether they're going to be F-18, F-35, B-1 bombers. When it comes to B-2, stealth, the clue is in the word. Those would come from the United States. There are other places that they can come from. Those would be responsible for dropping the biggest bombs. But the B-1 certainly capable of making those sort of statement attacks.
All right, Charlie, let me ask you about something else. There's been some confusion around how war casualties are reported on the Pentagon's casualties website. It doesn't seem to match the running tally, specifically as it relates to those 4 American service members that we recently lost. Can you explain that for us?
Yeah, Vlad, 3 of those U.S. service members, soldiers, were lost here, including a 19-year-old Isabella Gonzalez. That was in Jordan. Those 3 individuals, including 1 other in northern Iraq, they were part of that casualty list, that website that you were just describing. It went up to 18. That would have been the war dead from this particular Operation Epic Fury. That number went down to 14, which raised some serious questions. The New York Times first picked up on it. We followed up on it. The New York Times was told it was a data input error. However, we just checked that website just a few minutes ago. It is still down to 14. And what this means is they're not necessarily hiding the amount of people killed. We've been reporting that. They're not hiding that. It's where you categorize it. Is that Operation Epic Fury? The New York Times is told no, because it was in a ceasefire when those individuals were killed. So that doesn't fall under that particular category. And as I said, it has not been updated yet, which raises all kinds of concerns. Are you looking at a sort of clerical error, which is sort of how the Pentagon is framing it? Or is the idea that you don't want to have the number of dead, which stands at 14 as far as the Pentagon is concerned, of Epic Fury, or 18, which is probably closer to the reality? We're going to have to drill down on that because we're not entirely sure how that works. Because I will tell you, there is a lag time. When we started reporting here last week about the 3 individuals who were killed here and dozens of wounded, that website had not updated yet. In fact, it still hasn't updated. The number of people who've been wounded in on the website is 430. That was before the attacks here, which we know dozens more have been wounded since that. We got that from the Pentagon. We're not making that up. Those numbers are there, but they're not on that website. And that's what's raised questions as far as what is going on and how the Pentagon has decided to categorize the casualties in this conflict.
That's a really great explanation, Charlie. I appreciate the context. Thank you so much.